Hi folks, Rick here. Welcome to my channel. Alright, so we're going to be doing some cooling upgrades, but before I show you what I'm going to do here, let's take a look at and see what we got right now. Alright folks, so here's a common issue here. We got this 4-blade factory, I think, style fan blade on a spacer on a nice aluminum radiator, but this doesn't do anything. Sorry. I don't know what the heck's going on here. This is just overheating, waiting to happen. If you just drive it a few miles, that'll work fine, but it ain't gonna do it. So you gotta have a fan shroud, and a 4-blade fan isn't gonna do it here. So this is a big issue here. So we're gonna rectify this one here. I'm not gonna go electric. I think I'm just gonna stay old school and put a heavy duty fan on with a regular thermostatic fan clutch there and a shroud, and go that route there, and then that's the least amount of hassle. So anyway, yeah, this here's a problem, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this fan off here. All right, so we're gonna get rid of all that crap. I got a nicer radiator there. That fan situation with no shroud and that tiny 4-blade fan isn't gonna do anything. So we're gonna start off by putting on this fan shroud. I got this from National Parts Depot. It's a fiberglass one. It's really a lot better, I think, than just some ABS plastic. It's 3.5 inches, which is probably, I don't know, the stock one is not this thick, but I thought this would give me a little bit more protection there if I'm working down on the car. So we're going to be installing this. That's going to be you got to have a fan shroud. We're going to go with this, I don't know how you pronounce it, Durali or whatever. It's a 6-bladed fan, so this thing's going to move a ton more air than that tiny old 4-blade thing that we got. So this is going to go on, and we're going to stick on a fan clutch, and this is a thermostatic fan clutch, and that's something that's important there that you want. You want to make sure you got a thermostatic one. What that means is when you start the engine, you're going down the road, your fan doesn't turn the same speed as your engine. It just slips. It's got a clutch in this thing right here, so it doesn't draw as much power, which is nice. When it gets hot though, the clutch inside here locks up like a clutch, and then all of a sudden the fan speeds up and you start drawing a ton more air. It cools down your engine. When your engine starts to get cool, the clutch opens up and it goes back to not using much power there. So these are been around for millions of years on a lot of current trucks. My 2015 Silverado's got one of these. It's probably some type of computer controlled thing now, but these work good. They don't break. There's no electricity. It's pretty foolproof stuff here. So let's go ahead and we're going to start getting that old crap off and get this new stuff in. I've got a aluminum radiator as well, so this stuff's not going to just bolt up. Anytime you're working on old stuff, if you haven't done now, it's going to take some little fiddle in there. I got some clamps, some mounting brackets here. These are about, I think, 2.5-inch standoff. I don't know if this is the right size to about mount the shroud on, but it's going to be spacers, washers, some bending, some tweaking, some of that stuff to get this going. A couple times to the store. It's just how it is here. It's just an aftermarket radiator. It's a nice 2-core, thick 2-core on it there. So you got to expect a little bit of hassle with some of this stuff, but outside of that, let's get going. All right, folks, here to take our fan off here, a couple things. You want to loosen your belts here. So loosen your power steer pump if you got one. I already got this one loose. Same thing with your alternator if you got one, or air conditioning if you got one. Whatever comes up over top of your water pump, you want to loosen these things up. The next thing here, is you got to get down here, and try to get these bolts out that hold these on. There's not much room. I've got a couple started down there, as you can see, but it's just sticking a wrench in here and just a flat at a time. Hopefully yours is not that. It could be. Just be careful. You could remove the radiator and make this job a lot faster. I'm not doing that. I don't want to drain it and make a mess. It's freezing outside. I'm just going to do it. Once I get this off, everything will be okay. So I got 4 bolts here. I'm going to just keep after them. I'm going to take this off. We'll get this blade off. We'll get this thing here off. And then we'll go ahead and get our other fan here kind of on and see what it's looking like there. I might have to get another spacer. I'll see when I get it on. It might need a 1-inch spacer or something like that, but we'll see what it looks like once we get this thing on. But yeah, so let me get after this and I will get this fan off here. I've got about 1 turn on it, so another 45 minutes. I'll probably have this out the rest of the way, so let me just keep after it. Okay, folks, so I've got my shroud in here, going here. So if you can see how close the shroud is to the fan, you're going to have to put that, when you go to assemble this thing, you got to put the fan on. You slide the shroud really back over here, bolt your fan on, and then bolt your shroud on. That's how it's going to have to go. Right now I'm just mocking this up to see how this fan shroud might fit. It seems to fit just like I got it. It's not necessarily 100% identical all the way around, so you twist it around there. This seems to fit. If you look on the bottom here, it's really got a good fit. It's got a good foot on this side. If you look across over here, you'll see it's a gap. And what's happening is you can see this top thing is hitting the radiator. The other ones kind of tuck underneath here. You can see here they tuck underneath. For whatever reason, one of these things is like higher no matter how I turn it. So I think I'm just going to have to I'm going to see if I can get this thing bolted here. For one, if I can get it bolted like this, then I'm just simply going to grind that down a little bit and it'll sit flush. But I want to kind of get it, I don't mind the gap right now. I want to see now, I think I'm in pretty good shape right here. I want to kind of get some of these bolts in here to hold this thing to see if that even works. Once I kind of get it in there looking where I think it's going to be right, then I want to go and stick the fan on this thing, just stick some bolts on it, twist it around, make sure everything is looking good visually before I do any trimming, because I don't know anything for sure. But you want to get in here, spend some time mocking this up. I feel pretty good about where it is. So the next step is I'm going to try to see if I can get the bolts to go through here and figure out that mess, and then we'll go from there. Okay, folks, so here's my shroud mounting bracket that I bought here for these things. And you can see they got an angled slot on these things. This is my radiator bolt here. So you can see it goes right there. What it looks like on this thing, well, for one side here, this one side's got a slot. I'm going to put the slot on the outside so I have a little bit to dress my shroud. But what it looks like here is that the angle going up seems to be on the passenger side, and when I put them on the other side, they wanted to go downwards. So they are adjustable that way, but both of these sides, it looks like the hole in the shroud sits up higher, and on the other side, the hole in the shroud sits down here. So you just, turn up the brackets one way or the other there. So I think that here, everything's looking fairly good. So we'll see on this thing. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get these on there and then see how close the shroud is. See if there's any trimming, see if I need any spacers, that kind of stuff. And then we'll see what it looks like. All right, folks, I got everything test fitted here. Man, I got to say, so far, everything's perfect. So I got all these brackets on. I got all the nuts here. They came with all those things here. These brackets did. So I got it down. This thing has got a little relief here already made for your battery, so it fits there good. The only thing that's not is that corner over there. I'm going to need us to do a tad bit of trimming, which will be pretty quick. And then just go around here. It's fitting really, if you can see the bottom, it is fitting super tight. It's just a little bit over there. And on the side here, it's a little big. So I might have to see here what I might do here. I might use some tape on the back side. Oops, sorry, some tape on the back side, some foam right here. I'll get some of that stuff figured out here. in a little bit there. I just want to get the tighter the fit that you can get it, the more air it's going to suck through. And so that's the goal. But this is fitting really tight here. So this is not bad. But so it's good enough right now where I'm happy with that. I'm still not going to trim that corner over here. So what I need to do now is go ahead and pull this back off, and then we're going to go ahead and start putting our fan assembly on there so we can get that together. So let's get after that. All right. So I got my fan bolted to my fan clutch. You want to make sure this position's the right way. It does say on here the direction here on the front, which is the right. So it should be with these rough-sided rivet ends facing in is how it should normally be. But to bolt that on there, the other thing here when you put your fan clutch on, so mine came with this bushing right here. So this is a universal. They fit a lot of things here. So some things require a bushing here and some don't, and mine does. So you just slide that in there, and then what happens is it just fits over the snout of this thing right here. So this is just kind of a bushing for that. That's all that is. So check yours, make sure it's a tight fit, and it's good to go. So I'm just going to put this on here now and just kind of mock it up, put the fan on. I got to slide the fan shroud on first, and then we're going to put the fan on and just kind of get it mocked up there a little bit. So let me get that done. And I'm probably not going to see much here. So I've got this fan shroud on. I think I've got to push it back a little bit. Let's slide this down through here without dropping it or wrecking it. Got my little finger in there. Slide that over. Try to get a bolt on this thing here. And I had that thing aligned straight up, so I stuck this on straight up. It would work, but I think I just keep twisting it every time I do it. Now it's 2 for 2. So I got that. Now let's see if we can get our fan shroud on. Stupid belts in the way. Get this side here on. What do I do with the screws? Belts are all in the way for some reason. See, I got one problem. One of the screws is hitting the side of my radiator here. It looks like it's probably just need to do a die grinder a little bit there and give myself a little bit of room. Yeah, it needs to go down quite a bit. Okay folks, so here's where I'm at. If you remember here, this top side was sitting up like this and had a space, and I was going to have to trim that corner. What happened there is when I get everything lined up, that it fits perfectly that way, but then it hits here, you can't really, it hits the bottom of the fan here, down here at the bottom. So what I got to do now is tuck, you can see I tuck it in there instead of up on top. So that, I don't need to trim that side, but now the bottom corner over there hits the radiator, and I got to trim that one. So I'm about the point now. I've measured this thing, lined it up, I got the fan on, rotated, done everything I could. Now I'm pretty confident that bottom corner's got to get ground down. So now I'm going to go ahead and do it. That's why I didn't want to grind the top. I wanted to get this thing all in there first to make sure. It looked like it was perfect, but the bottom of the fan was too close. So it's got to go down there. I don't know what, it's kind of a weird thing there. 3 of those little clips, little tabs fit, the other one doesn't. I'm not sure what that is, or you think it'd be square because the radiator is kind of square. But anyway, not a big deal. You got to expect this type of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back off. I got to grind that corner, and then I actually got to do a little bit of, on this side here, since it's got to go down, I got to go do a little bit of adjustments to my tabs here. So this one here, just to kind of mock up here, you can see here I've cut and just tack weld it. It needed to go down a little far because it needed to sit up here, originally sit up here, now it's got to go down here farther. And then the bottom one there, I got to figure out, I've marked a spot there on the side here that I got to do a little cut. So this is going to be unique to your radiator and your car. It's just something you got to do. These, the chances of this bolting on is like next to none. I'm really happy so far with how close everything is now. The fan is just perfect. I actually got a good distance there, a nice safe distance from the radiator to my thermostatic clutch there, so that's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing off, do some grinding, do some fitting, stuff like that, a lot of boring crap, and then we'll get this back on and we'll show you what I did. All right, folks, I think I'm in good shape here. So I put this piece of tape so I know what's on the top. This thing has to be flipped this way, so this is the driver's side. So this is the bottom one here that I had to sand down here on the edge to get that ridge out to help it sit flush. And then instead of moving my bracket, I just made a tab coming up here. It just wasn't fitting good. It's tough to get down there to do any measures, so I just put a tab off to the side. And then this side here, hold on a second. Okay, so this side here, I actually cut the bracket and made it wider. You can kind of see here, this needed to be up here is where it was flush. So I got a finish welding it. I'm going to put a brace on there. Had I thought about it, I don't know, I might have made another tab or something up here potentially. I don't know. That's just the way I got going. But I ground down this corner flat. I actually ground down there's a big tab that sticks up, so I ground off the big tabs. For my situation, I think that's going to fit the radiator tighter. And so this is just kind of the stuff you got to do. This is a universal one. I've got a radiator I don't know the brand of, but this one here I was shocked, really, to me, how good it fits, especially the fan clutch. This shroud's looking really good. It's fitting up pretty tight. I'll probably see, maybe I'll get some weather stripping or something here. I got to look at that a little bit more to put around there. Every gap that you can reduce means more air it's going to suck through the radiator. So yeah, so that's it. That's kind of some of the stuff I'm going to do. So I'm going to shoot a little bit of paint on that. And then I'm going to, I need to finish welding this one here. And we'll get this bolted on. And we'll see what it looks like here. Okay, well, I've got this thing all on. So everything seemed to go on pretty good. One thing I'll tell you, if you're doing this, make sure you go back, check all your fan bolts there that bolt onto the your fan clutch. Make sure they're all tight. I was just mocking stuff up. I had to put everything in there. I always put a little Loctite. Also, make sure the bolts there that hold your hub onto your water pump there. Make sure all those are tight and you've got all that done there when you're and you don't forget stuff like that. That's the last thing you want to do. But that's it. Really happy with this thing. Again, here's a couple things. So this is a 3.5 inch wide fan shroud, which is a lot bigger than stock. I don't have a stock one, but this is what the design of this thing. If you see here, it is, almost completely encompasses the fan here. So this is going to prevent you here, from, hopefully getting your hand down in here is bad. If you're working on it, getting a timing light there. So it provides a little bit more safety on there. Still provides excellent cooling. And then, again, got a nice 6-blade Durali fan here and a nice thermostatic fan clutch. And the thermostatic fan clutch is the key to this whole thing. You don't want to just put a regular fan clutch on there. But didn't need any spacer. All went pretty well. Again, I had to do a little fabrication there. I've got an aftermarket radiator, and I don't know what the brand is. They don't seem to make these things here for aftermarket things. So they'll fit most. Got to do a little bit of work on them, and that's all I had to do. This really wasn't that bad. It's got a pretty tight fit. There's a couple of small gaps here that I might put a little bit of weather stripping in. And actually all I need to do is put a piece of, I've got some bolt holes here. All I need is a thin strip of metal going down here. That'll plug that off. So it's just a small things like that. That's not going to kill anything there, but I'll probably do something there to get it as tight as possible. The least gaps you got, that just forces the air to go through the radiator, which is the goal. But this thing ought to work good. Again, I'll try to put the part numbers if I can down in the thing there. I got these from National Parts Depot there. Again, it's a heavy duty. They make these fan shrouds here kind of like in a fiberglass type of a resin, and they just make an ABS plastic. There's one that's called like a heavy duty, and then there's a standard. This is the heavy duty one there. I didn't want a really thin piece of plastic, although that might have been easy to get on there. That just wasn't the way to go. So this is the heavy duty one. Again, I got a 6-bladed fan for this car and that fan clutch there. And just bought it all fits together good. Just do your homework, make sure you're getting the right sizes of everything there. and it'll all bolt right up and it'll all work good. So that's it. Pretty easy to do, I think. Not much. You do got to think some things out. I had to cut one of these brackets a little bit. Had to do a little bit of filing on some of the shroud, but you just, that's how this stuff goes. You got to just think it through, have some patience there, and it'll all work out good. So I'm happy with this one. And yeah, that's it. Take care.